So there's a really weird trend going around where women are basically bragging about looking the other way while their son gets laid out by his girlfriend. And I said that this would not survive a gender swap. I was wrong. And for the love of God, if you do find these videos funny, don't have kids. Just so many birth control methods. Just don't have kids. Why would any of you guys, both fathers and mothers participating in this trend, be more impressed with someone who would sooner lay hands than handle their business with integrity and grace? I can't even say that I would pray for the man who would dare put a hand on my daughter just because he felt emotionally threatened, because I wouldn't. I would not pray for him at all. That would be between him, my husband, and God at that point. And to be clear, as per my original video, if a woman were to ever lay hands on my son in my presence, I would neutralize that threat myself.
So, I want you to explain this to me, because I might be losing it. Is it...
Yeah.
The daughters hitting other men, or is it the other way around? Because I'm pretty sure it's girlfriends hitting sons. Am I right?
Yes, so that's where it began with. But
Right.
I believe that both cases were kind of addressed. Like,
I see. Okay.
I mean, either way, a parent should not stay and watch whether I have a son and he's being hit, or whether I have a daughter and she's being hit. But I gotta say, as men, you're kind of expected to like deal with it yourself, whereas as a girl, like, don't you dare touch my little girl, or I'm gonna make you regret it one way or another.
But I think that's fine. Like, I actually think that's okay. You
Yes,
should,
I agree.
and you should. My only problem is that whenever it's with the guys, they're expected to toughen up and just take whatever hits that they're supposed to be taken. Like, yes,
Yeah.
we're resilient, but like, there's a
We're not
psychological
pieces of stone. We're
no,
not statues.
there's a psychological element to that you just have to stand there and take it, because the psychological element is that you just cannot do anything, right? So you're basically just supposed to stay there like a puppet. And that f***s with your psyche, right? But obviously nobody gives a shit about that, right? Because, man, which, honestly, it's the current narrative that is recently going on around it. Now, seriously, the current narrative is just hate men. Right? And you see it everywhere. You see it on TikTok, you see it on like Instagram, social media, etc, etc. Recently, I've been watching a video, and I'm pretty sure you watched the same video of Abba and Preach, of women spewing men are useless.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women, most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless.
Yeah.
Bruh!
And just to quote this lady, this would not survive a gender swap.
This would not survive a gender swap. Yeah, exactly. No, but seriously, all these people, they have such big mouths saying that men are useless until you realize that most of this world was built by men. And also, there was also the narrative within the video that you know.
Just 1 second. Regarding this argument, most of this world was built by men. Most of the things in this world were built by men. All of the people in this world were built by women. So everyone is doing their part to make the world what it's supposed to be. This is why it just hurts my brain whenever I hear people going like, yeah, but you know, women struggle a lot during childbirth. And I agree, respect for that, I completely agree. Yes, respect women. Also, let's respect men for struggling, giving their lives for protecting. For
yes, queen. There is no
unless they're gay. If they're gay, then they're
but
good.
But gay men are amazing. Fucking. But the more I was seeing that video, the more I was getting stage 4 terminal brain. Like, holy shit. How can you go around and say that, especially when you have husbands? When you have husbands that you actually quote-unquote care about, allegedly, because I have a feeling that might not be the case. They're just, how'd you call it, running ATM machine for some of them.
Yeah.
They're just an ATM machine, you know? And that's what a lot of men have been reduced to, which is really, really sad. Because the second that these broads would end up single, if they would end up single, they would realize how bad lonely life actually is.
So give me just one moment. My video got
other?
interrupted. I completely agree. The whole thing is just upside down at the moment. People are just... both factions seem to have gone mad. Red pillars, blue pillars, purple pillars, whatever pillars, all of them have just completely missed the point of what life is supposed to be.
That's actually so true. Have you noticed that all of these quote unquote like hating factions have recently just gone to the nth degree?
Yes.
Have you noticed that? It's kind of mad.
That just makes sense because it brings viewers, man. It brings viewers to be like that. So it just makes sense. Well, in a way, and in another way, it doesn't. That you're right. It's so damn weird. What the heavens is going on?
No, I'll tell you what. No, you actually were spot on. You were spot on.
Was it though?
Being how do you call
controversial.
it? Being controversial brings clout.
I understand that, but also at the same time, YouTube doesn't like it. Every time you become controversial, they push you down. So
no, you can't. So you can't be controversial and bring money in like that. That is still possible. Look at the say for example, our boys and the Abba and Preach show. They can have some hot topics sometimes, but they're still like one of the biggest like social commentary / political commentary that there is. So controversy can work. The only thing is you need to know how to limit yourself. That's the only real catch. If you're able to stay careful, you're not gonna have an issue. But I guess that's a bit too hard to handle. My only problem is there's only a certain type of controversy that is being censored. Everything else, if it adheres to the current narrative, then it's allowed to run freely. For example, like this feminist garbage. Yes, a lot of censoring is gonna go into that, but what are you gonna
that's
do?
what I was about to say. Like, you're giving yourself a lot of work. But
And the men are useless video. That shit pissed me the I'm like, oh Lord.
Can I just say, like, I don't use the word triggered because I just find it cringe. But if there's some place that would be appropriate, I've been triggered throughout the whole thing there. Like,
no, I know.
You know when you're just like, okay, I so wish I would be able to reply to all the rubbish that's being... And the one thing that I disliked the most was the fact that they just kept on attacking that girl that was trying to mitigate their points. Like, okay, I understand why you are saying these, but also let's not be idiots and talk about how it's not like this throughout the whole life. You know what I mean? Like, there are some men who are bad, but not all of them are like that.
It felt like 3 or 4 women that were unhappy in their marriage, and they were trying to take down the woman that actually being satisfied. That was the vibe. That was the vibe, and that just gives bitter bitch energy. Or again, to quote AMP, the ghost of the bitter bitch. Yeah.
Deci, câinele ăsta, mă auzi?
Aha.
Câinele ăsta doarme oriunde, doarme pe jos, doarme pe scări, doarme în colțul scării, doarme pe covor, doarme oriunde. În seara asta nu putea să nu doarmă în pătuțul lui din camera mea, că în fine. Sorry, I am back.
Okay, cool. So, how many trains of thoughts have we lost because of interruptions? Too many matrix attacks. Too many matrix attacks.
This time, it wasn't even a matrix attack. It was an attack from nature, just because I was spewing so much bullshit because of this video. Just because I had to address it, that it just... Okay, the whole of nature has rebelled against us right now. I'm back though. I'm back. So...
But my question is, wouldn't it just be easier if men and women just got along?
No, it would so... I mean, yes, it would also be easier if evil would not exist in the world, and yet it does, so we have to just figure out how to deal with it.
You know what? A fair point, I suppose. Fair point.
Because, like, so my main issue is, like, if it was a niche idea, that would be a thing. But the fact it's being propagated like wildfire through a dry forest, what do people expect would be happening?
I guess they want to just, divide men and women, which seems a bit counterproductive. You know?
It absolutely is. I mean, I'm trying to understand, like, there are some people, who keep coming with these grand master plan, like the lizards secretly governing the world are trying to, etc., etc., etc. You know?
Oh, you mean Zuckerberg?
All that crap. Yes, those, yeah. And
Anyway.
the royal family in the UK, apparently there are also lizard people.
That's as well?
Anyway,
They're lizard people?
Apparently, yes. Apparently, and you know what? Apparently, I'm as well, because a proof that they were is that they had red eyes in one picture. Okay. Anyway, so
Okay.
my point was that I'm trying to think about this whole, what's the word, Danny?
Narrativa?
Isn't lizard people? No narrativa, ma no narrativa. You made me even do the accent. Like,
that was actually quite a good
this
accent.
idea
Well
that-
done.
Thank you. You know, this whole idea of like the world is flat, the chemtrails,
Conspiracy
which
theories?
is kind of true. Thank you, conspiracy theorists. Thank you. So
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to give some credit to conspiracy theorists, like, okay, let me see if there could be some reason why someone would be trying to separate the men and women and not have people reproduce and the whole world going downhill. I cannot see one single reason. One reason could be, okay, overpopulation. Okay, fair. Let's stick with that. Okay, overpopulation. Who will be doing stuff if everyone is dead?
I mean, in all fairness,
That just makes no sense.
I feel like one of the things that people don't consider, you know, let's just say there is some grand conspiracy that there is some sort of attempts at depopulation.
For sake of argument, yes.
One thing that people don't consider is that when populations collapse, they don't do it like gradually. It's an instant
Yeah.
collapse. Which means one day you could have 7 billion people and the next day you could be at 500,000.
Yeah.
Things can change that drastically. So,
And this is something that's kind of happening nowadays. So we both live in the UK. You have seen how drastically everything just fell off. Like, it seems like at the same time there is little to no jobs, or there's very few jobs, at least in my area. I'm not sure about around yours, but definitely not the ones that I've studied for. I cannot find jobs. And at the same time, it seems that when you're trying to get somewhere, for example, to the GP or whatever, there is nobody working. So at the same time, there are no jobs and there are no people working. What is going on?
it could be a situation where there's specific jobs which are not being, replaced. Such as, say for example, you brought an
Yes.
excellent one, the GP. That's a highly specialized
Yeah.
job. Not everybody can get there.
I understand. I absolutely understand that not everybody can get there. But also, every single year there are so many classes of people graduating within the industry. Where are they going?
Fair point.
Where are the older people who were
Maybe
working
outside
up
of the
until
UK.
prior to COVID? That's the one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. Probably outside of the UK, in some place where things work better. But also, one thing that someone mentioned is because, this may be happening because we have relied so far too much on older people carrying the bulk of the work and not taught the younger people how to deal with it by themselves.
How so?
And I believe, because, so most companies tend to have the senior management roles and they stick with them and they do not give the expertise down the ladder because the ones that are already in the senior role do not want to be replaced. And the
Okay.
company do not want to invest in having the younger people taught because that's just a waste of money in the short run. In the long term, it only makes sense, but you have to be able to look the long term to be able to see that. You know what I mean? So
I see what a lot
this
of companies are
conspiracy
saying.
theory pretty much just says that everybody is stupid and we don't realize that we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
Ah, I see. I mean, you know what? I feel like we've kind of deviated away from the topic, which is
We have a lot, yes.
the war of men and women. Now, I do want
so much have this,
I do want to clarify something. I don't think we should go back to like the 1960s where women had no rights and bullshit like this wouldn't be happening. I don't think
Yeah.
that's the case. I think you could hit a very healthy middle ground, and that was around the 2000s. Around the 2000s,
yeah.
you had a situation where there was none of this like women hating men bullshit, but at the same time, women
Yeah.
were enough, like I guess they were given enough rights, I suppose, for lack of a better phrase. Now, again, I know that some motherfucker is gonna correct me and be like, actually,
They have
women
enough
didn't
rights,
have
okay.
these rights, and you're a misogynist. And okay, hold on, relax, wait. You could eat, you could go outside, you wouldn't be shot. You're good, okay?
Yeah.
Anyways, so
You could work, you could learn, you could teach, you could do a lot.
exactly.
Okay, let's
But
carry on.
it feels like ever since, like, I want to say the 2015, 2016, there has been this rise of let's just bash on men and say how they're useless. And do you remember those chicks that were like, yes, we can use the bone marrow to get ourselves pregnant and therefore we don't need men? I'm just like, okay, see how disabled your child's gonna look like. They're gonna be more inbred than the royal family. Fucking hell.
Yeah, lots of people really don't seem to understand that the way things are supposed to work is the easiest way and the one with the least problems. Like, if you just reproduce the way you are intended to reproduce, things would go much less worse than you just... I mean, would you like to say anything else before we're done here?
I think we'll wrap it up. Just go ahead and love women, love men, and don't hate each other, guys. It's not that hard. And don't adhere to the narrative. Have a nice
Make
day.
peace, not war. Like, subscribe, whatever.